My name is Mike Bickle. I'm the founder of the International House of Prayer in Kansas City. We've been having 24-hour prayer led by worship teams for 22 years now. And I want to invite you to come to an event here in Kansas City that's going to have many international leaders as well as thousands of people from around the world gathering to Kansas City on Saturday, May 14th. And it's called The Send. Now, The Send has gathered in several nations in stadiums where thousands gather, committed to pray for revival, committed to world missions, the Great Commission, and to pray for the salvation of the nation of Israel. So The Send, though has millions following it, they're having a big stadium event here in Kansas City at the big football stadium, May 14th on Saturday. Thousands are coming and many more will be joining us on the internet. Now, we want to invite you to participate in person or even by the internet if you can't participate in person. Now, this Send event, as big as it is, and it's being talked about all across America in many nations right now, we're going to have 4 days before that Saturday. We're gathering together, thousands are, like 5 or 10,000, and we're having 4 days of meetings leading up to that big day in the stadium on Saturday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, big meetings on this very special piece of property that was actually the very property that President Harry S. Truman owned it. And 40 years ago, a man gave me a prophetic word that one day God would give us that property of Harry S. Truman as a sign and a wonder. It was 40 years ago. That did not seem practical. I did not understand it. Well, 25 years later, in 2008, we received that property as a free gift, debt-free. And I said, God, why did you want us to have that property? He said, Harry S. Truman was a political intercessor for the nation of Israel. This prophetic man said. He said he probably didn't even know it, but he was. He goes, but you're going to be spiritual intercessors for Israel, and God's going to give you the land as a sign and a wonder. It's a big story, many details. It's wonderful. It's on that property where maybe 5 or 10,000 will gather for 4 days, and then leading to the stadium event on that Saturday. We want to invite you to come and be a part of that. And then after that Saturday, for 4 days afterwards, we're having a Korean intensive where some of the primary Bible teachers and prophetic ministries right here at IHOP and those visiting from around the nations will be teaching a Korean intensive. It will be in Korean, everything will be translated, and that will be for 4 days after that Saturday. 4 days before and 4 days after, and you want to come and be a part of it. I believe that Korea has such a significant place in God's end-time purposes. Over the last 50 years plus, Korea has led the world in the global prayer movement. And I believe God is going to give a Holy Spirit infusion into the youth of Korea, and I believe that Korea will continue in a global leadership role in prayer as the Koreans have been for many, many years. I mean, for 50 years. It was 40 years ago. I went to Korea and was so touched in the big church, the Yeouido Full Gospel Church, and I went to Prayer Mountain, and the Lord spoke to me about being a man with a prayer ministry. I moved to Kansas City right after that trip, began a real aggressive prayer meeting in my local church. Some years later, I resigned the church and started IHOP. So I am so grateful for what God's done in Korea as an inspiration for me personally and for IHOP. And this event, The Send, 4 days before on the Truman property, we're praying for Israel, but we're doing many other things, equipping, training. I believe it will be a time of impartation. The one big day in the stadium on Saturday, May 14th, 4 days afterwards, the Korean intensive. Pray about coming and being a part of this because we're all in this international family of affection together. Bless you, bless you, bless you.